check me, boo.
Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. So before we begin, remember to subscribe, hit the notification bell to see that. Ooh, what is going on there? Remember to subscribe, hit the notification bell so you see that every time that I post. If you like the content, give this video a thumbs up, and anything you would like to add, feel free to do so down below in the comment section. Now, we are back for episode 2 of Curon. Now, it begins, it's flashing back again to young Anna, and the bells are ringing from the tower, right? Now, in this, we learn that everyone cannot hear the bells. Because Anna said to her dad, she was like, because she had him pull over, she was like, you can't hear that. And she's like holding on to her ears and stuff, like it's like really paining her, and he can't hear it. So now we know everybody cannot hear those bells rings, which will come into play later. Also, when those bells was ringing, there came another, the other Anna, I guess, Anna number 2, she came about the water. So I was like, oh, okay. And then, you know, this is when her mom died. Okay. So, into present, the next morning after, you know, Mauro had found Anna number 2 upstairs in the bed, upstairs in the bedroom, upstairs in one of the hotel rooms. He's trying to tell Daria over breakfast. He was like, I know what I saw. And she's saying, oh, you know, you were just drunk, Mauro. You didn't really see what you think you saw. He was giving her that. He's like, he's like, I seen what I saw. He's like, and I'm calling mom. Mom's not answering her phone. Where is mom? And she's like, oh, you know, she just likes to, you know, be by herself sometimes or whatever. He's like, no, I know what I saw. And he's like, Grandpa is hiding something. As soon as he said Grandpa is hiding something, here come Grandpa in the kitchen. He like, what I'm hiding? I was like, ooh. We might need to be quiet. Because Grandpa, like, he scary, look. He was like, oh, nothing. He's like, oh, but I've been calling mom. Now, mom's not answering her phone. Grandpa says, your mom is up in the mountains or whatever. And I was like, he lying. He is telling a good old lie. So Mauro is pressing Grandpa. He was like, I know, you know, basically like, I know what I saw last night. Like, something was up in that room. And so Grandpa's like, okay, come with me. So Grandpa goes up. He takes him up to that room. He's like, y'all, Grandpa think he's slick because Grandpa think he gonna play in my face. He not finna play in my face. He might can play in Mauro's face, but he not finna play in mine. They went in that room, and that room was clean, spotless. You remember there was a bed, there was a desk, there were books. Gone. Everything gone. Nothing. He could at least left the books and the desk. Gone. Nothing in that room. I was like, oh, you are playing in his face. You're not gonna, right, his face, not mine. You playing in his face though. So mine was looking around. He's like, you know, it didn't make any sense. I was like, he cleaned up the room real quick. I was like, okay. So since Anna is in the mountains, Grandpa's gonna take them to school, right? So they get to school, and once Grandpa drops them off, Mauro is like, Grandpa is lying. Like, I don't think Mama's up in the mountains. And Daria's like, oh, well, she said she was gonna take us up there and show us around. Maybe she did go up there, you know, just to, you know, clear her head or whatever, you know, whatever. And so I was like, you know, it's just not right. I'm calling, I'm texting. She's not responding to anything. Like I said, Mauro said he didn't believe anything. And right around this time, there was like a cool breeze. And you guys know how in the first episode I said I felt like Anna took more care of Mauro. Well, Daria did the same thing that her mom does. She zipped Mauro up, and she was like, it's cold outside. Now it's just like, it just shows the similarities between her and her mother, how they both look after him, right? Y'all remember the girl from the beginning that at the end of the episode that Daria kissed? Well, her name is Mickey. I know it now. Mickey is cheesing from ear to ear, right, at school. And so she's telling, you know, her best friend Lucas, I don't understand how people cannot pick up on the fact if other people like them. Like, they're like real blind to it. Like, my intuition for that is like on point. Like 3 seconds and I like, my radar is on point, right? So anyway, so like you could tell like he ran up the stairs all goofily, like, and he brought her, I think, some cookies or something. He was giving me real like Norman Bates vibes, and I didn't like it. I was like, suspicious. Like, this one we gonna have to watch him. But she tells Lucas, she's like, Mickey tells Lucas, she's like, I kissed Daria. And he was shook, disheveled, behooved, like he wasn't having none of that. He was like, what you mean you kissed Daria? She's like, oh, I kissed Daria. And he was like, oh, he tried to brush it off, like, oh, you know, you were just drunk, you know, girls get drunk and do crazy things apparently. But when Daria walked into the school, Mickey's face lit up, and so she smiled at Daria, and Daria smiled back, and Lucas just saw the interaction, and he was not having it on the inside. Like, he was going through some turmoil. So Grandpa sneaks in his little red pickup, honey. He sneaks somewhere, and we come to find out that he had someone help him clean that room because he thanks the guy that helped him. And he's like, oh, do you know like where it took her? Or he's like, Anna number 2 took Anna, or Anna number 2 took Anna. He's like, you know, she's not like the rest of them. And I didn't know who them was. I don't know if he's talking about like Anna, the original, or if he's talking about like Anna number 2 isn't like the rest of the people that come up at the lake. Like, I don't know. Back at school in class, Mauro is still calling Anna, right? And she's not answering. He's telling Daria she's not answering her phone. She's not answering her text. And so Daria's trying to, you know, give, you know, just like some valid answers to why she's not answering. She's like, well, maybe she doesn't want to be seen by, you know, by their dad that, you know, she's online because of, you know, she's running from him or trying to stay as far away from him as possible. She's like, so maybe she's staying offline because she doesn't want to be seen by him. She's like, you know, he keeps calling and texting me too. And Anna had already told both of them, like, don't talk to him, stay away from him, you know, all of that. So, in the process of them doing all this talking, their teacher, who happens to be Mickey's mom, by the way, comes and tells them that it's time for them, you know, to kind of split up and to, you know, get to know other people in the class. Mind you, Mickey is in this class. So Mickey, of course, overhears this, and she told Lucas real quick, like, get up and get your seat up to Daria. I was like, dang. So Daria goes and sits next to Mickey, and Lucas goes and sits next to Mauro. So Lucas, trying to be a sleuth, but it didn't work out well. He was like, how long are y'all here? I was like, oh, you trying to get rid of Daria real quick, like, bro. He was like, how long are y'all here? And Mauro was like, I don't really know. He was like, oh, did Daria have a boyfriend while she was back, you know, like back in y'all hometown? I was like, dang, bro, way to be subtle. He was like, I don't, like, he was like, why are you asking me all these questions? He was like, oh, no reason. And so Mara's like, yeah, you know, like, people ask questions for no reason. So, Lucas called him a butt wipe, and Mauro had got upset and he accidentally knocked something off the table, so they both got escorted out of class, right? So when they got escorted out of class, we hopped to Mickey and Daria talking, and Daria's like, oh, I'd like to get something else for lunch, I guess the next day. I don't really know how this time frame is working. But Mickey's like, oh, you could come over to my house and eat lunch, and, you know, bring your brother or whatever. And Daria's like, oh, okay, I guess. Right then and there, I was like, I feel like Daria is not into Mickey as much as Mickey is into her. After Mickey made those plans with Daria, she blew off plans with Lucas. Oh, it's the same day. It's the same day. So she blew off plans with Luke. I guess they get like a lunch break from school. I don't know. But she blew off plans with Lucas. She was like, oh, we'll do it tomorrow or later or something. So he was upset when she told him that Daria was coming over to her house, honey, to eat lunch. When she left, because he was talking to her in the bathroom. When she left that bathroom, and I seen the look on his face, I was like, he giving me school shooter vibes. He punched the freaking mirror. I was like, oh, everybody in this school is about to die. Everybody in school about to die. So you can see there's this change going on with Lucas now because, like, he's upset. So he comes out of the bathroom and there's this girl asking, like, hey, have you seen Mickey? Well, since Lucas is upset with Mickey. He says, well, you want to know something about Mickey? And so he tells the girl that Mickey and Daria kissed, right? So it gets out. It spreads like wildfire, of course. And I think this is a pretty small town, if I'm not mistaken. But at least it spreads throughout the high school students, right? And so before like it gets to Mickey's brother, who I don't know his name, but I will find out. It gets to him before he gets home. And so they're like, oh, we heard about your sister. Like, she's out here kissing the new girl that just got here. He's like, oh, who told y'all that? He was like, they were like, you know, it's just a rumor or whatever. We hop over to Mickey's house, right? Now, mind you, like I said, Mickey's mom is their teacher. That's the only class that we see them in. And then her brother. Now, I was creeped out myself at the amount of times that I seen Jesus hanging up in the house, in that one room. I was like, what is really going on? Like, you seen crucifixes up there, down there, over there, behind that picture over there. Like, he was sitting on the couch. I was like, what's going on? Like, Jesus was everywhere. I was like, okay. So, you know, they're making dinner or whatever, lunch or whatever, and her mom was like, oh, why didn't you tell me that Daria was coming? Like, because her mama don't see it for Daria. She was like, you could at least warn me or whatever. And so Mickey's like, oh, you know, she's just excited that her crush is in her presence, honey. So she ain't worried about nothing. At that same time, Mickey's brother is like setting the table and stuff. And I don't know, the interaction between Daria and him, I was like, is Daria flirting with him too? I didn't know what was going on. Because they was like, they had this little banter or whatever. I was like, are they flirting? They was like smiling at each other and showing all their gums and whatnot. I was like, what is going on? Oh, Mickey's mom also says something about Daria's family has done a lot to them, and I was like, what you mean by that? And Mickey asked too, but her mom was like, oh, never mind, don't worry about it. Now, y'all remember the guy from the diner that Anna had seen? Apparently that's Mickey's dad. So he walked in and he seen Daria, and he was like, oh, welcome to our house. Immediately when I saw him again in this setting, I was unsettled. I was like, something ain't right. I felt it in my spirit. So something ain't right. Back out in the woods, Grandpa and his little friend that helped him clean the room, they're looking for Anna number 2 and Anna. So they're like tracking it down. They're tracking it down, and they follow it out to a cave. Now they make it out to this cave, and Grandpa goes in by himself, which is weird, but he goes in by himself, but he doesn't find anything. He finds a wolf. So he came right on up out that cave real quick like. But in the process of coming up out of the cage, he found Anna's phone. I was like, so she must be in the area somewhere. Maro is sulking because he didn't go to Mickey's house. So Lucas found him. Lucas like, aren't you supposed to be over there eating lunch? He's like, F both of them. Like, they can, like, whatever. So Lucas apologizes, and at first, y'all know how I said I thought Lucas had school shooter vibes. I was like, because he had told Mauro, like, oh, you can take that trail right there and it leads straight to the hotel. I was like, don't take that trail with that boy, because he gonna kill you in the woods. I was like, don't do it. Stay out in the open where people can see you. He does tell Mauro, though, that there's a legend about the old village was flooded from a dam. He also tells him that Mauro's family, the Reynas, that's her last name, they actually ruled over Curon, and they actually made the call to flood the old village. I was like, ooh, drama from back in the day. What was really going on? So I was like, okay, maybe this is what Mickey's mom was talking about, right? So hopping back over to Mickey's house, weird thing, everybody sat down to eat, right? And they fix plates, and Mickey's dad is asking Daria all these questions like, how's your mom, where's your mom? And you can clearly see that Mickey's mom was upset by this, right? So she tried to cut the conversation quick, right? She's like, oh, the food's gonna get cold. He had the nerve to say, first he said, I'm talking. Unacceptable! I was like, Who he talking to? With all that bass in his voice, he better fix it. And then, he gonna tell me something if the food get cold and it wasn't heated up enough in the kitchen. I tell you what, you'll eat a sandwich tomorrow, sir. I tell you what, you'll come in here and cook for your tomorrow. I tell you that. Since you got all that neck down there across the table. So, then this whole setting, like, I didn't like it. Like, then I noticed nobody else picked up, like, their silverware and stuff till he picked up his to eat. I was like, oh, we in one of them families, huh? So, by this point, Mickey is, all the kids at the table, all 3 teenagers, they're uncomfortable. So, Mickey, makes some excuse, like, hey, me and Daria need to go, like, wash our hands. Maybe be excused, she asked her dad. He's like, oh, yeah, I can be excused. So, they go downstairs, and, Mickey's like, oh, I'm sorry for that. Well, as soon as they turn around, here come her brother. Oh, his name is Julio. Duh. He's like, oh, so it is true. Because he came downstairs true that he's like, I heard that y'all were kissing. And she's like, who'd you hear that from? He was like, it don't matter, but whatever, it's true. And Daria's basically like, like, what's it to you? She had like got up in his face, and I was like, girl, what is? It's not that, like, you gonna fight him in his own house? Okay. So when she's in his face, here comes their dad, honey. He was like, Julio, what are you doing down here? Did I tell you you could leave the kitchen table? I was like, what is going on in this house? And he was like, no, but he was like, well, get back up there. And at first, like, Julio didn't want to go, but like his daddy like yelled like in his ear. He was like, now. I was like, all 3 of y'all getting beat in that house behind closed doors. I know y'all are, because the way he acting, honey, he, all y'all getting beat on. I can see it. So I was like, oh, I am shook and I am scared. I was like, Daria, girl, get up out the house, honey. Get up out the house. So after, I guess, that dinner, lunch, or whatever is over with, they go in Mickey's room, and Mickey's asking, she's like trying to be like beat around the bush about it. She's like, oh, when you were, back home, did you have a boyfriend or did you have a girlfriend? And Daria's like, why does, boyfriend, girlfriend, why does that matter? And she's like, oh, because we kissed. And so Daria says, yeah, but we were drunk. And so basically Mickey's like, oh, so she's thinking like, oh, you didn't kiss me really because you like me, blame it on the alcohol, like, right? And so she's like, oh, it's just, she's talking about how it'd be hard to come out to her mom and dad. In the process of them sitting in the room, Mickey gets a message. And they head towards the school. Now, Lucas had got this same message, and he got to the school. And in the school, they have painted in red paint on a white wall that Mickey is a lesbian, basically. And so, like, he was in there trying to clean it up when Mickey and Daria showed up. And she was like, oh, it was you. So he turns around. He's like, oh, no, I didn't do this. He's like, but I did. Like, he tells on himself. He's like, oh, I did, tell somebody that y'all kissed. And so she basically told him, like, he was dead to her. Like, she didn't want no parts of him no more. Like, don't be up in my face, Kiki. And don't come over here with no cookies trying to get my attention. Like, stay away from me. So he is distraught. When she tell him that, honey, oh, he is broke up inside. He is shook. Like, this is the end of the line for him. This is the end of the line. So, he goes home. He's really distraught. You can just see that, like, things are changing. And, like, in his house, he goes in his room and he looks up in the mirror and he sees a second Lucas. He sees a Lucas number 2. I was like, oh, snap. He sees a Lucas number 2. He lays down on the bed. And we hear the bells. And I said, oh, things have gotten bad. The bells are going. Excuse me. Ooh, y'all gonna think I got the Rona. The bells are going, and Then we see a Lucas number 2 come up out the lake, and I said, oh, it is over for everybody. I told y'all he has school shooter vibes, and now it's gonna be 2 of them running rampant around here. With the information, going back real quick, with the information that Lucas gave Mauro, he did start to investigate, like, I guess, like, their family name and, like, what happened, back in the day. Grandpa, hopping back to him real quick, Grandpa, him and his friend found, a car run off a road. Now, he wanted to go down to find who it, like, save whoever it was or whatever. But his friend was like, oh, it's getting night, it's getting dark, like, they're dead. I was like, y'all not going to at least call an ambulance or somebody or something? Like, what is going on? Now, real creepy, like, while, y'all know Mauro is into his devices and stuff. He's got his drone flying through the house to the hotel, right? And he's up there flying by that room, and he sees somebody. So he goes up the stairs. Tell me why Mickey's daddy is up there in the room to my son. I knocked, but didn't nobody answer. So that meant you could just walk on through the house, sir? That's what that meant? You could just walk on through the house? But he was like, oh, what was in this room? And Mauro was like, nothing really. That's what he tells him. He's like, nothing. He's like, and so he asked him, he's like, oh, where's your mom? He's like, oh, she's in the mountains, but she's been missing. I don't believe my grandfather. So he's all creepy. He's like, oh, well, if you think, he said you can't file a missing persons report for 48 hours. I thought it was 24. Maybe over there. Okay. He's like, you can't file a report for 48 hours, but, you know, if you hear anything or find anything, let me know. I do not trust this man, but I think he also might know about the, because he said him and Anna were good friends, which I'm pretty sure good friends meant they dated. So he might know something about Anna number 2. I keep saying Anna number 2. Maybe. I don't know. But I know I don't trust him. Especially not the way after I heard him talking to his wife, honey. He on my shit list. But, I don't know where this is going. Because there's only 7 episodes. And, like, I feel like it's slow. Like, it's not, like, things are happening, but things aren't happening. So I'm just like, we're gonna ride it out. We're gonna see. But, they need to pick up the pace or something. I don't know. It's not interesting the way I thought it was going to be interesting. Like, enough isn't happening for me in order for me to be like, oh my God, I need to see the next episode. The only thing that happened in this episode where I was like, oh my goodness, I need to see the episode is where Lucas came up out of the lake. Lucas number 2. Other than that, I was like, oh, okay, all right. So we're going to see. You guys let me know how you feel about this. If you've seen it, if you haven't seen it. If you haven't, go watch it so we can talk about it. But, I love you guys. I will see you in the next one. Brain fart. Bye.